Hey! It's March 2021 and we're still in lockdown here in Scotland, but we're hopeful that in April lockdown will be lifted and once again we'll be free to go out in our camper van. So this video is really just to give you an update, let you know what we've been doing during lockdown and what our plans are going to be for 2021 once we get out there again. So the message during lockdown, of course, has been stay at home, so that's what we've been doing. We've been staying at home. But Keira obviously has to get her walk, which gives us the chance to get some exercise too. And she loves going out for her walks. We've had some snow over the winter. Not a huge amount, but enough. Keira loves the snow. She's quite happy to go for walks in the snow. She loves rolling about in it. She always has fun in the snow. And I'm pleased to say that Keira at least has had a haircut. Trish and I haven't, you know, we've still got the lockdown hair, I've got the lockdown beard, but Keira has had a haircut. You ought to have seen her before. Our hair was so long, shaggy, and she was getting tuggies. So difficult to keep her hair clean and get a brush through it. So we've taken her to the groomers and she's been done. At least she's been done. She's looking great now. It's almost like she's back to her old self. She's so much easier to keep clean, keep her brushed and just keep her looking good. Yeah, so all of our walks with Keira have certainly kept us busy, but we've been busy in the house too. You know, we've not just been sitting around. We decided to use the opportunity of lockdown to do a little bit of decorating in the house. So Trish was doing some painting in the conservatory, made a good job, actually did the whole place up. Meanwhile, I made a start on the hall. I've been putting that off for a number of years, particularly because I don't like heights, and going up that ladder to do the painting in the house did freak me out a little bit. I must confess I was trying not to look down, but you know, between the two of us we bashed in and we actually managed to get it done. And we've also used the time during lockdown to think about our travel plans for 2021. Now, we had hoped to go to Europe, but I don't think that's going to happen. Like last year, we wanted to go to Europe. We booked the tunnel up in September, but we couldn't go because of COVID. So we ended up doing the NC 500. I don't regret that. We had a fantastic NC 500. Really, really enjoyed that. Took our time going round and it was brilliant. But it did mean that we didn't get to go to Europe last year. Thankfully, the Channel Tunnel people have allowed us to carry forward the booking. I don't think we're going to be able to go this year because things in Europe aren't looking too good with COVID at the moment. So I think it's going to be 2022 sometime before we finally get back over to Europe. So it's going to be mainland UK for us this year, travelling around with Maggie, our wee brown van. But that's okay, you know, UK is a great place to be. But have you noticed that all of the campsites are getting totally snapped up? In fact, there can't be much left at all. So we've booked some. I think we've booked 7 campsites and a total of 47 days we've booked up. We're going to Wales, we're going to the Lake District, and we're going to Scotland. And what we've found is we've just had to kind of jump about a bit because it's been a case of really taking what we could find was available rather than planning on going a particular place and then booking around that. We've just had to say, well, you know, what campsites have got places left, where can we go and can we get in? So that's what we've done. 7 sites and 47 days. I think that's right, 47 days. So we're looking forward to that. Hopefully we'll manage to get some wild camping days in too. That will probably be in Scotland. We're not going to get away until May. We've not had our jabs yet. So Trish and I were expecting to get our jabs hopefully before the end of March. We know that in Scotland travel arrangements are opening up again on the 26th of April. So from that point we'll be able to travel out and about in April again, and we're really looking forward to that. And then the first of our campsites is booked for May. We'll be able to get away. Fabulous. But looking on the bright side, that does at least give me a chance to give the garden a good old tidy up. always needed at this time of the year. Now I've already made a start because we had a good week last week and I managed to get a little bit of clearing up done. So the miscanthus grass, that's had the chop taken right down to the ground, so it's a little bit tidier over in that corner. And also in the front border, what I did there was I chopped down all the perennial plants, so the hardy geraniums, and some of the plants unfortunately hadn't made it through the winter, so for the cordylines it was curtains for them. They have to just go straight into the brown bin. There's also a number of sedums over at the fence, so it's just a case of taking out all these old perennials and making space for all the new growth to come through this year. There's a number of clematis in this garden. They're climbers and they all have to be cut down to about knee height. It's just a case of being careful with the secateurs, removing it from the supports and cutting them back really quite hard. The first job today is going to be cutting back this bamboo. It's one of 3 that I have in the garden. As you can see, it's become quite congested. That means at the base of the plant there's a lot of new growth coming up. It means that you can't see the canes. So the thing to do is to remove some of the canes selectively, take out some of the thin ones and remove some of the lower branches. Well, that took me a good 20 minutes to cut this back. Philostachys nigra, it's the black stemmed bamboo. And I think it looks good, at least it does, once it's been cut back. That's all the clippings from the bamboo here. I'll need to dispose of these. And this is going to be another bamboo that I have to do over here. This one's even bigger, but it's also same kind, Philostachys nigra. As you can see, it's really overgrown. And there's only one other bamboo that I need to tackle, and that will be them. It's over here. For some reason, it never grows quite so dense as the other ones. This one's called Philostachys aurea, so it's more of a golden stemmed bamboo. So that's another job for later, but the next job is going to be the Photinia, which is this shrub here, and it needs to get pruned quite hard in the spring so that you get all the red foliage coming through, and it probably needs to come back to maybe about there or so. To prune this, ideally you want to snip just above a leaf node. However, such a big shrub, actually you don't really need to be all that particular. It's going to grow back, just make sure that you prune it all round in a good shape and don't be scared to get stuck in. Well, that's it done, and I'm just having a breather. The thing is, just stand back periodically, have a look to see that the shape's looking okay, and then just continue until it's all done. Next job is to get rid of all the waste. So here we are. There's quite a lot of clippings come off the Photinia, and there's the bamboo ones there. So they all need to get chopped up and they go into the brown bin. Not this one, because it's full of wood to be burned outside. It goes in this one. But the problem is we only get one brown bin collection every 2 weeks, so I need to chop this lot up to little bits to make sure it all fits. And so that's the brown bin full. I'm sure I can fit a bit more in here. Where there's a will, there's a way. Hey! There we go. Plenty of room for more. The next job to tackle today is going to be these lavenders. Now they look really scraggly. They've been in for a number of years. Definitely past their best. So they're going to come out and we'll put some fresh ones in. This statue here of the dragon, it came from the Chelsea Flower Show. We've had it in the garden for about 20 years. I think it deserves a little bit better staging than this stuff. So, get cracking! And out it comes. It's just a case of working my way around till it's all out. I think I'm just about done. I've decided I'm not going to put the new lavenders in today. It's only the 8th of March and there's a good chance that we'll still get a frost yet, so I'll leave it for a week or two and put the new ones in. But I'm going to call it a day. I think the weather's turning. Well, I was right. The rain started shortly after that and it poured down. I wouldn't mind if the garden needed some rain, but it doesn't. And I just want to get on with it. But the rain's definitely on for the day. But my luck's in, because in the morning it's dry, and I decide to start the day with some pruning. And first for the chop is going to be the spotted laurel. Next up, the catinus. Then the euphorbia. It's been spreading around a bit and it needs getting under control. That's another trug full for the brown bin. Good job it was emptied. Other jobs include raking up leaves, more raking up, and a spot of weeding. My favourite job. And if you believe that, you'll believe anything. I decide that it's time to tackle the big bamboo. Well, that bamboo took me about an hour to do. There was a lot more to it than I thought. There's lots of dead canes. They've turned brown. So I had to be a bit of a butcher. Take out more than I thought I was going to have to. But that's it done. And I think it's looking a lot better. I'm not being nosy, but I can't help noticing that the neighbours put in some astroturf to cut down on the maintenance. AstroTurf is not for me. I prefer the real thing. And I decide it's time to give our little patch of grass some attention. You having lunch in the garden, Keira? Keira? You having some lunch in the garden? You're going to have to move because the machine's going on. This little electric lawn rake scarifies the grass to remove moss and thatch, and that helps the new grass shoots to come through. I only need to do this once or twice a year. It does a good job, but the collection box is no use whatsoever, and it's really best to rake up by hand. Well, that's the garden tidy up. Finished, thank goodness. 3 days work it was. We weren't working flat out, but maybe 4 or 5 hours a day over 3 days, and we got it done. Keira had an extended playtime today because Gemma turned up, so we're not long back actually. We went up to the park and we played some ball. And then we went and we found some leaves because Keira loves rolling about in the leaves and chasing the ball in the leaves. But it was very muddy down that corner, so after that we headed for a much earned drink, didn't we? In the burn. You like getting a drink in the burn. And I tell you, she was absolutely ready for that.
Good girl, Keira.
Then we also went to the swing park. I wasn't really expecting to go there, but Gemma wanted to go and talked me into going on this circular ride where basically you held on for dear life and you ran around, threw you up in the air, twisted you around. I must admit, it was quite good fun actually. Then we moved on to the slide. That was one for Gemma. I was staying off that one, but I think she quite enjoyed it. You know, I always thought in my retirement I would be spending a lot of time in the garden. Possibly even selling this place up and buying a bigger garden. But then I got the travel bug, didn't I? And we just want to travel. But at least it means that the garden is now in such a way that we can leave it and we won't be coming back to a jungle when we do come back from our travels. Hopefully we can stay on top of it when we do come home. It'll just be a case of cutting the grass, a little bit of weeding and nothing too much at all. That's the plan anyway. But for now, it's time to do the front garden, isn't it? Is there any end to this? Come on, pups, let's go. Come on.